Hello, everyone. In this training session, we will be covering the Competency Master configuration in the Onfinity system. The Competency Master serves as a structured framework used to define and manage levels of expertise in a specific competency, which could be a skill, knowledge area, or ability. It is commonly used to categorize how proficient an individual is in a particular domain, supporting performance assessments, training plans, and talent development initiatives. An organization seeks to implement a competency framework to more effectively assess, develop, and manage its workforce, ensuring that employee capabilities are aligned with the company's strategic objectives. To achieve this, the organization collaborates with department heads and senior leadership to identify a set of key competencies that are critical for success within their industry and specific roles. Competency classifications are listed below. Technical competencies are job-specific skills and knowledge areas required to perform tasks effectively within a particular function or role. Behavioral competencies relate to interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, and other soft skills that influence how employees interact and collaborate. Each competency is broken down into clearly defined proficiency levels, which outline the expected knowledge, skills, and behaviors at different stages of an employee's career. This structure helps set performance expectations, guide development planning, and support succession management or career progression. For the configuration steps, you will log into the Onfinity system as an admin. From the menu, go to the HR Management folder. Within HR Management, select General Setup and then open the Competency Master screen. In the Competency Master screen, click Create New Record. Enter all required details, and once all information is entered, save the record. Before we begin the use case execution for Competency Master, a prerequisite is that a rating scale must be predefined in the system, as it is essential for assigning proficiency levels to each competency. For the execution steps, you will log into the Onfinity system as the admin. From the main menu, go to the HR Management folder. Under General Setup, open the Competency Master screen. Click Create New Record, and then enter the competency name and the appropriate competency type and description. Save the record after all necessary details are added. Next, navigate to the Competency Level tab. Add the proficiency level details, such as level name, rating scale reference, and corresponding descriptions. Save each level entry as you go. Now, let's see how this process works directly inside the system. This is the login screen of the Onfinity system. You will log in using your unique credentials, which include a user ID and a password, and click the Login button to access the system. Upon successful login, you will be directed to the home page. Here, you will see various widgets. However, the data within these widgets will only be available after transactions have been completed, as we are currently in the configuration phase. Next, navigate to the menu. From there, go to HR Management. Then select General Setup. Under General Setup, proceed to the Competency Master screen. In the Competency Master screen, you will configure the competencies required for future transactions. Fill in the following field details. For organization, select star to apply this competency across all organizations, or select a specific organization, for example, Sonic Venture, if the competency should be limited to that entity. For competency name, enter a clear and specific name for the competency. For competency group, choose the appropriate group category, for example, behavioral, managerial, or technical. For rating scale, select the predefined rating scale that will be linked to this competency. For the start date, indicate the date from which this competency should be considered active within the organization. You will enter an end date only if the competency is time-bound or being phased out. For description, provide a brief description of the competency to clarify its purpose and scope. Once all required fields are completed, click Save to store the new competency record. Once the competency record is saved, proceed to define the competency levels. Navigate to the Competency Level tab. The competency name will be auto-fetched from the main or header tab. Select the rating scale level, for example, 1, which is poor. Specify the start date from which the competency level becomes effective. You will enter an end date if applicable. Add a brief explanation describing the expectations at this level in the description. Save the record to save the current entry and directly open a new form for the next level. Select the rating scale level, for example, 2, which is below average. Specify the start date from which the competency level becomes effective. You will enter an end date if applicable. Add a brief explanation describing the expectations at this level in the description. Save the record to save the current entry and directly open a new form for the next level. Select the rating scale level, for example, 3, which is average. Specify the start date from which the competency level becomes effective. You will enter an end date if applicable. Add a brief explanation describing the expectations at this level in the description. Save the record and use Save and New to save the current entry and directly open a new form for the next level. Select the rating scale level, for example, 4, which is good. Specify the start date from which the competency level becomes effective. You will enter an end date if applicable. Add a brief explanation describing the expectations at this level in the description. Save the record by using Save and New to save the current entry, and directly open a new form for the next level. Select the rating scale level, for example, 5, which is excellent. Specify the start date from which the competency level becomes effective. You will enter an end date if applicable. Add a brief explanation describing the expectations at this level in the description. Save the record once all the competency levels are added. Return to the main Competency Master tab. You'll now see that both the competency details and associated competency levels have been successfully saved. That concludes the configuration of the Competency Master in the Onfinity system. Thank you for attending.